Hi, welcome to Local Flavor. My name is Oystein Stolberg, and we're at the Institute for Culinary Arts, where we're hanging out with Chef Michael Combs.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Oh, of course. It wouldn't be a Tuesday without you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's Tuesday. It is
Yeah.
Tuesday and hot outside.
And it's a little toasty.
It is.
So I figured we might as well make empanadas.
That sounds like a good idea, especially in 96-degree weather.
Yeah, like little fried little dough deliciousness stuffed with just
Actually, they would be served kind of any
Yeah.
time, really, so they would
Yeah.
be kind of a good idea. And then this will probably air in the winter sometime.
Totally.
So then it would be perfect.
This is almost like it's planned.
That's right.
This is awesome. So we're gonna make some empanadas. There's a lot of different types. We're gonna make like a corn-based one now, using masa for the dough. But like there's like every country got their own varieties. So like South America usually use either a flour or a corn base. But then you got like pierogies, you got calzones. Like the Portuguese got it, the Spaniards got it. Like it's
Everybody has
Yeah,
it. We have
yeah.
one in Nebraska. They're called runzas, right?
yeah, and they're delicious. We should just order in runzas.
You just go to the street and pick it up, really.
Yeah, they're delicious. Okay, so we got masa flour. So I'm just gonna add that into the almighty bowl.
So this is very simple. It's just basically flour and water and a little salt. It
Yep.
looks like just using masa instead.
Yep, it's super easy. And just a couple of good pinches of salt. I like salt.
So I guess we're doing more of a savory dough, or you
Yep.
could, if you want, you can do the same exact thing, but you could make it more. You can stuff it with the sweet fillings,
Totally.
dessert fillings.
You can fill it with like anything they can put in. Like you can fill it with like cheese and peppers, meat, and
Sure.
there's fruits in there. You can be vegetarian.
I guess so. I've had it with walnuts, and I think it was honey.
Yeah,
It's
they,
really
they
good.
made like a dulce de leche type thing. Jammed that in there.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was very good.
Yeah, so like you can put all sorts of fun stuff in there.
It's a very versatile, very easy too, very inexpensive.
Totally. So like the flour-based ones is basically like a pie dough, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's flour, it's lard, usually water and other kind of seasonings and stuff in there.
So I'll probably give you more of a flaky because of the fat that's in there, maybe.
Yeah, flake, but it doesn't get the same flavor. I think like it's still
Sure.
pretty freaking delicious. But no, I like masa.
This is probably more traditional, I would think, like the more of the masa in the South American style.
Yeah, this is more South American style for sure. All right, so we got our masa. We got warm water. I'm just gonna add that into a bowl.
Is there a reason why it has to be warm, or is it just easier to work with? That way, it doesn't get cold and.
Easier to work with. It'll just kind of incorporate it a little bit easier with the flour. So I'm just gonna start with a little bit of the water. The amount of water is gonna vary a little bit depending on like humidity,
Sure.
Stuff like that. So just start with a little bit, and you can always add more. So I got extra flour too. If we need to kind of adjust it a little bit.
I notice you're doing it in a bowl. I like to do mine, like pie crust and things. I like to do it in a bowl too. Some people put it right on the bench. Yeah, it's a little more messy, but really a bowl is kind of the best vessel in my opinion because it just the flour just keeps going on down, and so you can just kind of it feeds it while you're spinning it or mixing it around on its own, and it's less messy. But everybody has their way of dealing of mixing the dough.
Like there's a lot of different tactics. So I'm just gonna start out with just kind of working this together. And once I kind of start working it by hand, then I get in there. That was just less messy.
Sure.
Because it's not like my hands would just be filthy by now, but now they're staying fairly clean.
Right, and you're keeping it contained in a bowl too, so
Yeah. So then you can just start working it together. So this one is a little bit dry, so you might add a little bit more water if you're going to give me a
you bet.
little gurgle. Thank you much, sir.
You bet.
I'm just going to keep working it together until it just kind of comes together as
I
a
can
nice
get you some
dough.
more too if you need it.
Yeah, we might take a little bit
All right.
more. Yeah, because like a lot of people don't think about that, but like flours, really any kind of flours are going to vary a lot depending on time of year, just kind of humidity in the flour. Like there's a lot of things that comes into play. So you really just gotta kind of play it by ear and kind of see how it comes together.
It also depends on the characteristic of the dough, whether it's a sticky dough,
Totally.
was more of a pasta where you can where it won't stick to your hands. That's how I usually tell. I can stop sticking in my hands. I can push it in. It'll bounce back out.
Yeah.
Bread doughs, that sort of thing.
But like this one would need it to be.
Need a little more of it?
Yeah, I could take a little bit more. So like we still need it firm enough so we'll be able to press it and hold together in the fryer.
Sure.
But you still want it soft enough so it'll be tender. It won't be too tough to eat.
And plus, as it sits, basically all that flour, those dry flour granules will just soak up the water, the liquid.
Yep. So this one's starting to come together real nice.
Oh yeah, it's starting to look good now.
So it's kind of looks like stuff you I don't know, like spackle walls and stuff with. Like you kind of fill in holes with hanging pictures and
There you
stuff
go.
like that. Like it just looks like that. Like it's somewhat wet to the touch, but it's holding shape pretty well. So this one's getting
Looking pretty
close.
good. Yep.
And you can just smell that just nice corny, just like it just got a very distinct smell to it.
And I guess if you don't want to make the dough, you could go to your local Mexican grocery, couldn't you?
Yep.
And buy it already made, can't you?
Oh yeah. They can sell it. They can sell it by a pound. Like you can get like lots of it. Like any Mexican grocery store that makes tortillas and stuff, there you can buy dough because it's basically the same dough, basically.
Right. And then you could get tamale dough, that sort of thing.
Totally.
I think tamale has a little more fat in it, that sort of thing. But same concept.
Yeah.
It's looking great now.
Yeah.
Nice and homogeneous. You don't have to knead it as much because you're not developing gluten or anything like that in there, so you don't have to develop any of that. You want it kind of nice and tender, so that way when you eat it, it doesn't, you don't have to do any pulling.
Because you want it soft enough so you can just easily push it out.
Yeah, it looks great.
But it still leaves.
Yeah, it leaves a little bit of tacky.
And it feels like it's sticking, but it's really not. And we can always spritz a bit more water as well once we start rolling them out and start filling. So, but yeah, like it's a very, very forgiving dough. Like you can't really overwork it or anything.
Sure.
So, but that's looking pretty dandy. So we got the dough out of the way. So the only stuff we got left is just kind of filling. Then we're gonna fry them. Then we're gonna bake them too. You can do all sorts of stuff. So we're just gonna.
Looks great.
Yeah, like it looks like a coastal little dough.
And just a little fact here, masa. So masa, but the difference between cornmeal and masa, because a lot of people think it's like a corn flour.
Yeah.
Is that this masa is made from nixtamalized corn, which has been soaked in. It's corn that has been soaked in alkaline. And so the husk is removed and that sort of thing. And so actually, it's easier to digest and it's better for you.
Yep.
So that's the difference. That's why you have that strong corny smell too.
Yeah, it's just a lot less starchy and a lot less strong than like
And so if you try to do the same thing with cornmeal, it's not going to work.
Yeah, you won't be going to the bathroom for like a week afterwards if you do that, because that's hard to digest. So we're just gonna put this one aside, like it's technically ready to start working with, but we gotta get all our stuffings ready and all that fun stuff. So you guys stay tuned. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited. So you guys just stay tuned, and we'll be back here in a little flash. And we're back here again at the Institute for Culinary Arts, where we have a whole array of what seems like medieval torture instruments.
Yes, they do look a little strange, don't they?
Yeah, well, it looks like I'm about to be in some serious hurt, and like, is my wife here and didn't know about it? Like, what's
no,
going
but we
on?
are going to hurt some masa dough. So we're gonna smash it.
It had it coming a long time though.
It did.
Yeah. So what is all this little shenanigans?
So we have just two different presses.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't need a press either. If you want to use the bottom of a pan, you can use the bottom of a pan.
Yeah.
But so we have basically this is like an iron, like
Heavy
cast iron.
Yeah.
So it's going to last quite some time. But it seems like just with some of the other ones that we've used and I've used that the heavier the better, because they give it a more
uniform
press. Exactly. Because if it's like a light material, it doesn't do that so well.
Yeah.
And so and then. Obviously, if you want, you can put it right down on here. But usually, the best way to use is a little plastic wrap, just plain old plastic wrap. And sometimes I'll put a little pan spray, or you can put a little oil, like what we have here, and we'll put that down. And so it would be kind of like kind of like this. So we have a couple of pieces of plastic here that we just cut like in just like an L. You can do this with or you can put a piece of plastic here and a piece of plastic here.
Yep, totally.
And then all I do is put a little bit of oil on here, and then I'll drop a piece of masa dough on here, and I'll show you with the other one really, but just kind of an example.
So you can really make these ones whatever size you want to. Like as long as it kind of fits on there.
Yep, as long as it fits on there. And we'll do it on the wooden one just so I can show you that one as well.
Yeah.
The wooden one seems to be very uniform, does a really good job.
Because that's some heavy wood. Like that's.
And what's interesting is it lasts longer. I know it sounds strange because this one is cast, but we have broken these before, like the handles have broken off. I mean, it's pretty brittle though for. I mean, it's iron, so it just kind of snaps off.
Because the wood will have it'll be a little bit more forgiving.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a little more. Yeah, exactly. It's a little more forgiving. Exactly.
And it looks pretty.
So all we do is we're gonna add just a little bit of oil here and hold that back. Like I said, plastic wrap will work just as well. And just a ball of masa, whatever you want. I put it right in the center there. Yep. We'll close it up like this, and we'll put it down like so, and then we just give it a smash.
That's like magical.
Yep. Look at that.
And it just flattens out like.
Yep. Flattens out.
That's sturdy.
Yep. It should peel right off.
Yeah.
Set this over here so you can. And if they don't come out perfectly circle, no big deal. You can always shape them.
Oh yeah.
And I'll just I'll tell you what. I'll make a couple of them if you want to show them how to do the filling.
Oh, I would love to.
You'd like to fill them?
I would love to. So these ones you can really fill them whatever. Like it can be savory, it can be sweet. I don't know. You can put like a half a chicken in there. You can do all sorts of stuff. Maybe not a half a chicken, but.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, we might as well give it a whirl.
I do like turkeys and turduckens and all that stuff.
Yeah, like you can even just kind of cut up apples, mix them with raisin, put them in there. Like just about anything that's firm enough to shape and kind of hold in there.
Sure, why not stuff it in there?
Yeah, like load it up with cheese, and when you fry it, like it's just like a cheese explosion in the mouth. Like you can do all sorts of fun stuff. Right here we got some lamb, like it's just braised lamb that we just kind of shredded a little bit. You can use chicken, you can use beef. Can you even use like ground pork to cook up and season up?
Sure, it's like leftovers of any kind?
Yeah, like if you got like leftover barbecue pork or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like it's like delicious in there. So,
even like leftover apple pie filling if you wanted to.
Totally. So I'm just going to shape that. You want to be careful though so it doesn't have too much kind of sharp edges. Like if it has too many sharp edges, it's just going to poke through the dough very easily and stuff like that. It can be a little bit firm and it'll be all right, but like you wouldn't try and wrap up like a chainsaw or something like that. It would be a little bit tricky.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and it doesn't taste good either. Like I'm on like a low iron diet.
Sound like you speak from experience.
Yeah. So then you just fold it in half, just like a regular calzone, really. And then, so if it starts tearing a little bit in the top like that, it's no big deal. Like you can kind of pinch it back together, and it's like it's never happened.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Like you want to try and avoid it because you want to try and avoid oil getting in there when you fry it.
Sure, so that way it doesn't get greasy or it'll explode sometimes.
Yep. And then you just use a fork, go over the edges.
So there's no need to put any type of egg wash or anything in the inside to keep it together. You can just seal it.
The dough itself will have enough moisture to just kind of stick together. So just kind of crimp the edges like that, and just kind of hold them together. There. But so this one start tearing a little bit. So it's a little bit. If the dough keeps tearing a lot while you're shaping it, it might need to add a little bit extra water. Or when you get it thin too, like it'll start to dry out very fast. So you just got to work a little bit fast. I was a little bit slow with this one.
It does. I got the fresh one for you.
Sweet.
But you can see that it does. They do dry out very quickly.
Yeah. So one little trick, if we just leave it on the plastic, we'll pop that on there because then you just use the plastic.
There you go. Good idea.
Fold it over. And just make sure that it's dough on dough and you don't get any meat kind of in between the layers of dough. And just kind of tap it down a little bit.
Just peel it right off.
Yep. I'm doing a horrible job at it right now, but...
There's no tearing or anything on there.
Yeah. So then we just kind of go over and crimp the edges. Because that'll just kind of help seal the edges a little bit, so it'll fry a little bit more easily.
And so I noticed you dipped it in the masa there, and that's just basically to keep it dry so it's not sticking to your fork.
Yep.
Oh,
So then
there you
just
go.
get little empanadas like that.
There you go. It's a nice shape.
Just little cozy little things, but like you can even do rounds, you can do squares, like you can kind of make
Sure.
them whatever shape.
And any size, really. You can do. I've seen larger ones, and I've seen smaller ones for appetizers or hors d'oeuvres.
Totally. So like bigger ones like this, just gonna take a little bit longer frying. If you're stuffing them with like raw product, if you're stuffing them with like raw sausage or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Like it's just gonna take longer to cook, but like since this is already braised and cooked, like it'll come together really fast. So I think we're just gonna kind of keep filling these puppies.
Yeah, we'll just keep on
Like,
going.
we'll just kind of go crazy, and we'll be back here in a little bit, and then we'll show you guys how to fry them, we'll show you guys how to bake them, and show you guys all sorts of fun stuff. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
See ya.
Hi, and then we're back here again at Empanada Land, where we're just hanging out and doing all things empanada today.
That's right.
So we've been shaping a whole bunch of empanadas. We've got a couple left here. We've got a couple in the oven that are just kind of baking a couple as well. Because you can either bake them or you can fry them.
You can.
Fried is tastier.
It is tastier. I mean, obviously it's healthier to bake. Well, also depends what you put in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Frying is tastier, but we baked them anyway, so you guys can have a little look-see.
They look better when they're fried even.
Yeah.
They look better, they taste better.
Because like when you bake them, like you see these ones, like they'll start kind of crackling a little bit, and that's kind of hard to avoid when baking.
Sure.
They
They don't look too bad, really.
No, like they're still holding up fine, and they're still gonna get a good, like nice crispy texture. So like it'll work, but like a dough like this, that's such a lean dough.
Yes, it is a very lean dough.
Yeah, I think it's just tastier having it kind of like with oil and stuff, but I don't know. That's just my personal preference.
You could egg wash with a egg yolk, and then that might help you too. And if it's maybe a sweeter kind, some sugar and egg yolk too will help you brown it if you want to just get that look.
Yeah, so adding a little bit of sugar to the dough, that's a good point. Like that'll help it just kind of caramelize a little bit faster and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a good point. See, I learn something every day. This is nice.
Oh, you knew that.
I just didn't say it. I just didn't say it. So we got some lettuce and some shenanigans here.
Yep. So basically, what I'm going to do is I was going to plate this up. So we're going to just do a little, basically a little contemporary way of plating this up. So obviously, this is more like or for like hors d'oeuvres or something like that, or appetizers because of the size of them. But like Wayne had said earlier, they can be much larger. You can make a whole meal out of one if you like. If you can think about like a calzone, you can make a huge calzone if you like.
Oh yeah.
And so
you can make it big as your face. Like the size of your pot is the only thing that's going to depend. Like especially if you're frying. Yeah.
That's true.
But like you can make
bust out a big turkey fryer and then fry your calzones in the backyard.
Now you're talking.
There you go, man. There's a way around everything.
Oh yeah. But like you can make them up to this point, like where they're like they're kind of in the raw state, and you can freeze them like that. So if you're gonna fry them, you can go straight from the freezer into the fryer.
True.
So like you can mass produce while you're first making it. Cause like if you have like a lot of extra like barbecue pork or something like that, like just make a whole heap of them. And if somebody just knocks on your door on a random day and you need someone to feed them,
pop them right in the fryer.
Yep.
True, and they'll probably cook very well that way. Actually, from the frozen state, go right from the frozen state to the frying stage, and actually a lot of baked goods and breaded goods do very well that way.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. Mm-hmm. They're like magical.
Yeah, so you won't be compromising any quality doing them that way at all.
Yeah, no, they'll store great. Like eventually they'll start freezing and burning, but it goes pretty slow, so that's all right. So we got some lettuce shenanigans.
Yeah, so we just have some romaine. We just basically some things that we just have around. So it's nothing special. We didn't go out of our way to find anything to plate these or anything.
But it's kind of like normal stuff you can start with them, like just a little shredded lettuce, like stuff you might find at like sopas and stuff like that. Like,
like some just cheese laying around. We had some radishes. Radishes last a long time in your fridge, so
Totally.
we had some of those left, and they go well with these, especially like fatty foods or anything that's been fried.
Just
They
a
have-
little bit of pepper in that.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
break
Kind
up
of
totally.
palate cleanser, that sort of thing. And then
Awesome.
you have a little bit of lettuce too that's crunchy for like texture.
Yeah.
And then we have some cheese, and then we also have some homemade salsa verde as well that we think that will go really well with these.
Oh, it's gonna be tasty.
Yeah. So I just decided I just cut these like just in ribbons, or I guess if you want to get crazy, I mean like if you roll them up, then it would be considered a like if it was basil or anything like that.
So it's just like a super rough chiffonade. type
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
And so
That's a pretty plate you got.
yeah, so all we'll do is put a little bit of lettuce on there, like so, and we can put a little bit of salsa, 2 places. So we'll this is basically just a little plate that you can, like if you're sitting this platter in the middle of a table or so. So I put the salsa just in different places.
And people can kind of choose what they want. They can just
Exactly.
grab one, kind of drag it through. They can kind of choose their poison type thing.
Exactly, that's the way I look at it too. They can just kind of choose their way, or from both sides. It's easy to grab from both sides.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have this thing that's notorious for taking fingers off here. So
who
we have a
needs them
mandolin.
anyways?
It even says right here, "Watch your fingers." I think in culinary school, I see people all the time. Well, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
If not even done it, actually. So you got to be very careful. Usually, they come with a guard,
Yeah.
if you like. And they're kind of fun to use. Once you learn how to use them, they cut things very uniform, and they're not a lot of work. I'm just rubbing it across like that.
Yeah. Because those things are wicked sharp.
They are wicked sharp.
Yeah.
And
But
you
they're-
can, especially when you get them brand new.
Oh yeah. But like they're so handy for stuff like this, or slicing potatoes, or like you can slice just about anything with it, including fingers.
Exactly, including fingers.
Yeah. So if you slice fingers, just don't put them on a plate.
Don't do that. Make sure you wash everything off.
Yeah.
That's a whole other.
Awesome.
Ballgame.
So we got our baked ones on there. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start frying up these little puppies. So like depending on like if you're making sweet ones, then you can serve with like grilled fruit and stuff like that. Like you can kind of change up the style that you're kind of serving with them. So just going to check the temperature on this one. Make sure you want it to kind of be like in the 350 range. So once it's kind of like comfortably / aggressively bubbling around my trusty old bamboo skewer, you know it's about in that temperature range. You can just, if you're in doubt, just use a thermometer too. Works totally fine. I just didn't bring mine, so I found my little stick.
And sticks work just fine if you know what to look for.
Yeah, I like sticks. They're nice. So just gonna get it nice and toasty in there, and then we're just gonna kind of slowly pop these ones in. You want to be careful when frying to not add too much because it's going to drop the temperature of your oil like a lot.
Exactly.
And you don't want to overcrowd it either because then it's just going to start sticking to each other and just getting real funky. So just kind of submerge them in. And I just want to kind of keep moving them around a little bit, flip them over a couple of times, just to kind of get like a nice crispy crust all the way around.
Right, basically just golden brown and delicious. The way
Yep.
they start looking.
Like in the kitchen, we call it GBD.
That's right.
Golden brown, delicious. Like it's a good kind of indicator of doneness for just about anything.
Really,
fried.
color is a very good indicator. You'll hear some indicators too. Like some people say, like if it starts to float, it's done. Yes and no. It just really depends on what it is.
Yeah.
You'll notice that with proteins when they start to float, like they're done. But sometimes I have to say when they start to float, they're almost overdone. It's basically cooked
Yeah.
almost all of the moisture out of it and that sort. And that's why it's floating.
Yeah. But is it basically like a way of dehydrating?
It is. It's considered, frying is considered a dry heat method. And a lot of people don't think that because they think you're cooking in a liquid, but
like because like oil doesn't steam, so like whatever vapor is coming out, like it's just water escaping the dough.
that's right. And there is no water involved in frying, and you'll know that
Yep.
if you've ever tried to put a turkey in a fryer that has a bunch of water all over it.
Yeah, it gets a little interesting, but it's fun. And so these ones are trucking along good. So you want to be careful, like when you shape them, to just seal them up as much as possible. You got one here that kind of gapping up a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. Just make sure to like try and drain out some of the oil before it goes on the plate, and it'll work out just fine.
It'll happen, really. I mean, you can. I mean, there's no way you're going to make a bunch of them and not have any of those guys open up on you or explode
Yeah.
or that sort of thing. It's just kind of one of those things that happen.
Yeah, but like it's not the end of the world.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lose too much.
so
people
we just turned
there.
that empanada into a taco.
Yep,
That's all.
I like it.
You can just tell your guests, like, you know what, I made
Yeah.
one little taco for you.
It's an empa taco
Yeah, there you go.
right there. So these ones, since they don't have sugar in though, they're not gonna take on a whole heap lot of color. Like some of the edges will kind of start to have a little bit golden, but not very much.
Yeah, it's not going to be really. Plus, it depends on the oil too.
Yep.
Right? Like if you have brand new oil, it's very difficult to get that. I'm saying not difficult. You got to leave it a lot longer than probably what you should.
Yeah.
To get that brown.
You got to overcook it to get the brown out of it.
And so there's good and brown. I mean, there's good and bad about using fresh oil. Really, I mean.
Yeah. Like a lot of places will save a little bit of the oil and add it to the new oil, and then they'll.
That's a
fry
good
it
idea.
Easier. Yeah. But like, it just sounds really weird when you say it that way. But like, it works. It'll give you a more consistent color, I guess. But these ones are sizzling pretty good, and you can just kind of feel them. This is rather hot, so maybe don't do that. But you can kind of feel them. They're nice and crispy. So I'm just kind of give them a little dibber dab. Make sure we don't get any like excessive oil and stuff on it, and just kind of let it sit and kind of drip out for a little dash.
Yep.
Make sure you turn off the oil so you don't have a flaming pot of grease after a little while. That would be a bad one then.
Yes, and when you see these, you'll notice that they're fried correctly. So there is a correct way to fry. I mean, sometimes I'm sure everybody's gotten French fries that are limp and they're just full of grease, right? And so all that, it's because the oil most likely was not hot enough, and so it doesn't push out any of that steam while it's cooking, and so it just soaks it all up like a sponge.
Yep.
But if it's nice and hot enough, it starts to cook it starts basically cooking in the outside, and it'll push all that water out, and it forces all that grease to go out to the surface and not inside of the product.
Yeah.
Which is what you can tell if they're fried correctly or not, that sort of thing.
Frying is quite magical.
It is. It's pretty cool, really, if you think about it.
But
the way
we can see the difference here on like the baked ones. Like they just look more pale, more cracking. Like it's just a whole different environment. Like they're both dry heat methods, but like
they are dry heat.
Frying is just a better environment for a lean dough like this to be in. Like if you did it with a pie dough that got lard and stuff like that,
sure,
it would bake differently. So you'll still get more, I don't know, more a little bit of color to it, a little bit better texture and stuff like that. But lean dough like this, and the pot it goes.
You got to put fat in. It's almost like you got to put fat in there some way. You're either going to put it in at the beginning,
or fry it,
or you're going to fry it up. So
Yep.
I mean, you're going to have it be tender, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But look good.
This looks awesome. Like I kind of want to eat it right now.
Would be nice.
Awesome. So, couple of easy empanadas. Super easy. Kind of make it yourself. Like fill it up with whatever. You can shape them however. I don't know. You can make a chunk. Like you can make it like a family activity. Like kiddos can sit there and poke them. Like it can be like a whole day ordeal.
Fry them, bake them, or you just really if you filled them with something else and did something like steam them, you'd probably just have like a dumpling.
Yep.
I mean, really, they're just different, using different doughs, the same exact method as far as stuffing. But I notice in almost all cultures, there is some type of dough that is stuffed in some way or another.
Yeah.
Really, and I think almost in every single culture, they might call them something different.
Yeah.
But they're very close to the same thing, and it just depends what you put in there and how you finish cooking it is really what's going to make the difference. So,
because like pierogi is the exact same thing, like both Russian ones and like more like the Polish ones or whatever. Like it's just a difference in dough, difference in dough, difference in kind of cooking method, but they're all delicious.
Pierogies sound great too. And those things are awesome. You can stuff them with all kinds of stuff. Pans saute. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should make it happen. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out the website for recipes, and there might be some pictures of this pretty face right there.
Right there.
Isn't it nice? So be sure to check it out. Thank you, Mike, for dancing around.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chef.
And helping me make some little empanada action.
Yeah, anytime.
Be sure to check back again for, I don't know, new stuff, new shenanigans. We might try and do some pierogies and stuff. So
yeah, sounds great.
I think it'll be a good plan. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
You guys just keep on cooking.
See ya.